I want to show you some footage and analyze that footage, some of which you have never seen before, beginning with that day in Rome in 1960. The place, the Italian Sports Palace, the gold medal at stake in the light heavyweight classification, a youngster named Cassius Clay going against Ziggy Pietrzakowski of Poland, round two. Notice immediately, at that time, how light, how almost frail Ali seemed to be. That's the first impression you get. This is the second round. Notice, too, that Zbigniew, they called him Ziggy Pietrzakowski, is a southpaw with the right lead. This was the beginning, you must understand, of Ali's wariness against southpaws. He had trouble with Pietrzakowski. The film reveals the fact. Again, this film never seen before. He was swift of hands and swift of feet then, as swift as he would ever be. Just a kid. He knew what he wanted to do. He knew what he wanted to become. He had the quick left lead. He was yet to discover the value of the right lead against a southpaw. That would come later, with experience, with boxing wisdom. So would the weight, the upper body development. But right now, the puzzlement of a more experienced fighter and a southpaw. A puzzlement and almost insecurity that showed itself in September of 1966 when he fought Carl Mildenberg. We'll be back to show you round three and the initiation of the famed Ali Shuffle in just a moment.
Guilty.
Not guilty. 6 votes guilty, 6 votes not guilty.
Oh, Jim.
This could go on all day. Bailiff!
Pass out the right guard deodorant.
Good.
We got stick or spray. Right guard deodorant has all-day odor protection. Kills bacteria that can cause odor. Stick or spray protects all day. 6 took stick, 6 took spray. It's unanimous.
Right guard deodorant. Don't get dressed without it.
Ferguson!
Sarge?
Do you have a Gillette Track 2 blade I could borrow?
Got an injector. It shaves clothes.
No! Track 2 shaves me closer than any single blade. Closer!
My razor, Sarge?
Track 2 is more comfortable than old Ironsides.
The twin-blade Gillette Track 2 does shave you closer with less irritation than any single blade.
2-day pass for anybody with a Track 2.
To guys who use Gillette Track 2, no single blade will do.
A showcase of NFL superstars, the Pro Bowl, live tomorrow night at 9 Eastern Time on ABC.
Interesting, isn't it, to look back upon Cassius Clay as a light heavyweight, even as Floyd Patterson was but a middleweight in Helsinki in 1952. Both destined in their own time to become heavyweight champions of the world. Cassius Clay at this point beginning to score with his combinations, growing in confidence, but in no way until shortly he will disclose the shuffle, evidencing the kind of cockiness, almost ring arrogance, that became a trademark during his professional career. A caution there from the official to Pietrzakowski. No matter, Clay was ready to go back to work. By this time in the third round, he was confident that he had the bout in hand. Now watch the shuffle coming up. There it is. In later years, Cassius Clay, then Muhammad Ali, would say, this was in the fall of 1966, after he showed it in proliferation against Cleveland Williams, that was when he showed it for the first time. But no, you're seeing it now. The first time he ever showed it in Rome, Italy. In its own way, symbolic of the colorful, innovative, creative personality that he would later become the most famous figure in international sports, one of the most famous in the world. And so it was then. One could hardly realize that very shortly later, back home in Louisville, he would throw that gold medal into the Ohio River. But he did, and it was a precursor in its way of the life to follow. But in Rome, Italy, this, at that time in 1960. Notice, a humble youngster, just 18, no arrogance, no brashness, no gestures to show his superiority. Just a kid from Louisville, Kentucky, would become the best amateur light heavyweight in all of the world. And he was so terribly proud at that moment. A far cry from the image that would later be created. He looked forward at that moment to the playing of the national anthem and to the almost contrite acknowledgement that he achieved a lifetime's dream at the tender age of 18. Watch.
I like my chicken finger looking good.
When we want chicken, my wife says go to the Colonel.
Colonel, you got terrific chicken. I like my chicken finger looking good.
The secret recipe is what gives it its unique flavor.
We love your chicken.
I like my chicken finger looking good.
Last time I tried frying chicken at home, I just about set my apartment on fire.
I don't know very many women who can cook chicken as well as this chicken.
Colonel, you got good chicken here.
Europe's most successful new car in history comes to America. Introducing Fiesta, now imported from Germany by Ford. Fiesta, 0 to 50 in an average of 8.8 seconds. Road gripping Michelin radial tires. The traction of front-wheel drive and excellent gasoline economy. Fiesta, Europe's most successful new car in history. Test drive one at your authorized Ford dealer now.
Sunday, on the Hardy Boys, a mysterious house and a witch girl terrify a small town. Then the death probe is back for more.
What now?
And this time it has an appetite for the $6 million man after the Hardy Boys.
Watch tonight, starting at 7, 6 Central and Mountain on ABC.
What you folks just saw was Cassius Clay at the age of 18, in a humble manner, achieving a pinnacle of his life. Cassius, now Muhammad Ali, of course, has called it a cornerstone fight in his career. Well, we want to update you. We want to take you along now, and even as you saw footage in his fight against Pietrkowski never seen before, we want to take you back in time to an extraordinary scene. It was February 25th, 1964. That night, Cassius Clay was to fight the baleful Sony Liston for the heavyweight championship of the world. And you remember this scene at the weigh-in? This was an apparently wild, maniacal youngster, age 22, about to fight a man who was an 8-1 favorite. He had to be restrained, his actions to many inexplicable. But for the wisdom of the sports writers in general, clearly explained as he held up his fingers, you will go in 8. And Liston reported, you will go in 2. But no, the blood pressure seemed outrageously high. And everyone concluded that it was fear of Sonny Liston. But it turned out not to be fear at all. Just minutes later, his doctor, Cassius Clay's doctor, Ferdy Pacheco, took his blood pressure, and it was completely normal. The whole thing had been an act. Let's look at what happened in the third round of the fight. There you see a youngster 22. But note the startling difference in the upper body development from what you saw at Rome in 1960. Remember, this is 1964, and you just saw a chopping right, and you'll see it again right now. Cut Liston, wide open, from the left eye down to the left corner of the mouth. Watch this. He taunts Liston, who can't reach him, with a swiftness of feet backward, just always out of range. The left, and that's the right. That's the right I mean. And for the first time in his fighting life, Liston tasted his own blood. Suddenly he seemed an old man. Between the rounds, I was at ringside. They came out for round 4. Liston pawing with the left. He claimed later that it was in the second round that he tore muscles in his left shoulder and upper left arm. Watch throughout the scenes you're about to see how Liston keeps throwing the left in open defiance of that which he later stated. But watch how cannily Cassius Clay waits this fight. Sometimes flat-footed, sometimes taunting Liston, almost uncannily just out of range, so that the Liston left, which once seemed as long as a recurring piston, could not strike. Quickly, out of danger, like right there. Liston wildly swinging a right. But the point, Cassius Clay in boxing control, in ring center right there, scoring with the left jab again and again. Note the Liston left, just out of range. What a magnificent boxing performance. Whether you like the kid, in the wake of all the braggadocio, more will go in 4, and one after another, calling the fights in advance. He was making his words stick against the man everyone feared. And as an old man, now exposed, you could see Liston running down. But did you see those attempted lefts? No sign of a shoulder damage or an upper muscle tear in the left arm. Always the left, which had been so controlling, so compelling against every other opponent. But now, suddenly, he didn't seem big. He didn't seem terrifying. Cassius Clay, they suddenly discovered, was a bigger man than Sonny Liston, physically as well as mentally. Right there, Liston finally scored with a left, but only left. Cassius Clay was in control. Watch. By now, those at ringside could see how discouraged Liston was. That blood was going into his mouth. But there was an unforeseen element to enter into this fight, one that caused doubt for years to come in the minds of those present, the press, the broadcasters, and the viewers on television. That doubt will show itself at the end of round 4. You will see footage you've not seen before. That's the end of the round, and Cassius Clay went to his corner. It was there that the strange scene occurred. Look at Clay. He can't see. He's crying. In effect, he's saying, "Cut my gloves off. I've had it." His corner man, his trainer, the man with him from the beginning, the man who taught him to become the great fighter he became, was Angelo Dundee. And he kept wiping Cassius Clay's eyes with that sponge in the water. But do you know what he did before he did that? Being the best corner man in all of boxing, he realized instinctively what had happened to Clay. He realized that Liston's forehead, covered with an acidic solution, Monzel's solution they called it, had rubbed against Clay's eyes, had gotten into them, and so the fighter was temporarily blinded. And Dundee knew that if he cut those gloves off, if Ali couldn't go back into the ring, the Muslims in the corner, I called him Ali, I corrected Clay at that moment, that he would be blamed. that indeed, in his mind, his life might be jeopardized. So he took the sponge and tested his own eyes, put the sponge in the water, and satisfied himself that it could wipe the liniment away. And that's the sponge. And that was the water that he rubbed into Clay's eyes. So Cassius Clay came out and fought the 5th round and survived successfully. We will pick up with the 6th round in a moment.
Now, this here's an oil for you and me from the good oil boys at STP. 15,000 miles it goes, and that's some oil. Goodness knows.
This STP motor oil is a good oil made great with a special blend of additives. Goes 15,000 miles between changes. That's a mighty long way. But STP wanted your car to have their best at a price that's best for you.
You get this oil naturally from the good oil boys at STP.
Schlitz Light. Schlitz Light beer has a third fewer calories than our other fine beer, and all the taste beer drinkers expect from Schlitz.
Is that what that guy always drinks?
That's his beer. It's the only light beer with gusto.
I'll have a Schlitz Light.
Make it 2.
Beer drinkers know it took Schlitz to bring the taste to light.
Sunday. Nobody does it like Bond, the man with the golden gun.
There have been many imitations, but there is only one. Schlotsky. Except no substitute skis. 3 hearty meats, 3 zesty cheeses, and that's only the beginning of the original Slotsky. Wherever you are, there's a Slotsky near you. Slotskys take a little longer, so call ahead. Slotskys, the only sandwich we make. It's that good.
Now at Josky's, save 10 to 40% on our entire stock of furniture, bedding, and floor coverings during the semi-annual home sale. Colorful table toppings from Reed Handcrafts, including quilted placemats, runners, and plain napkins are just $129 to $10.99. Every piece of Sealy bedding in every size and every firmness is now $39 to $299. From DeVille, we've got sofas, love seats, and chairs priced from $288 to $488. And there's more during the semi-annual home sale now at Josky's.
Sweet November, tonight at 11 on 24.
Over my right shoulder, you see Tampa Field, a live picture of Tampa. And tomorrow night, the NFL's Pro Bowl will take place there, the AFC's finest against the NFC's finest. I'll be joining Howard Cosell and Don Meredith. Don Meredith is right there now. He surprised us all. He found Tampa. So let's join Don right now for a report on the Pro Bowl.
Thank you, Frank. Being a Los Angeles resident these days, I'm not going to be the only one that misses this gentleman this next year. And I've got to ask him why. Chuck Knox, you have been to Buffalo, haven't you?
I certainly have, Don, and I'm looking forward to getting to Buffalo in a not too distant future because we've got a great job to do there. It's a wonderful opportunity for me, and I'm just ready to go to work.
Chuck, all right. Now, I know there's a lot of reasons, but why did you leave Los Angeles? You weren't fired. You had some more years on your contract, and yet you left a great football team, possibly one of the best 3 or 4 teams in football, to go do a rebuilding job in Buffalo. And that's the one they say that who wants to go to Buffalo? It's so cold, but there you are.
Well, the reason I accepted it was because of the challenge that exists there, the chance to go in there and structure a program that hopefully will make the Buffalo Bills a competitive football team year in and year out. And I think that's what pro football is all about. And if we can do that and get that done where that every year we have a winning football team, that every year we're fighting, knocking on that door to get into those playoffs, why, we will have done our job.
All right, there's a lot of rumors that have been going around as to why, and other people are trying to figure out why anybody would leave Los Angeles with the kind of team that you have. One of the rumors that's been around is that O.J. Simpson will be kind of in the swapped Los Angeles for you. Is there any truth to that?
There's no truth whatsoever to that. There's no compensation involved in my going to Buffalo. We want O.J. Simpson in Buffalo. We want him to play there. He's got 3 or 4 more years left. He's one of the greatest running backs in the history of the game, and that's our posture.
Chuck, good luck, and I thank you very much. So I'll see you in Buffalo. And I tell you, Frank, that's about it here from Tampa. Except we sure do miss you. We'll see you tomorrow night. So back to you, Frank.
Okay, immediately following today's telecast, I'll be joining Don Meredith in Tampa for the telecast tomorrow night of the Pro Bowl, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Of course, I'll be with Howard Cosell. We'll be joining him in a moment, but first some pro basketball scores. This afternoon it was Kansas City over New Jersey, 105-97. Cleveland, paced by Campy Russell's 20 points, beat Atlanta 93-89. Despite 31 points by Atlanta's John Drew, Milwaukee beat Chicago 112-90. New Orleans took Detroit 100-97. It was Seattle over Boston 103-92. Dave Cowens had 33 in the losing cause there for Boston. Philadelphia's also won. They beat Golden State 99-87. Lloyd Free had 20 for the 76ers. Julius Erving had 17. College basketball, an upset as unranked Florida State went into Louisville and beat the 7th-ranked Louisville team 70-66. Nicky Dillard of Florida State had 24 points to lead Florida State. Okay, interesting fight. Looking back, I was there when that took place between Sonny Liston and Cassius Clay. So, let's
This was
rejoin
round 6, February 25, 1964, Miami Beach Convention Center. Cassius Clay now had his full visibility back. He could see the opponent, a tired old man. The bully in him wiped away. All of the years of staring down opponents, a thing of the past. The youngster scoring, it seemed at will, with the quickness of hands. The Liston head, an open target, as you watch. There was no defense any longer. The discouragement on Liston's face was not a thing he could shroud. You will see on close-up shots to come the swelling of the left cheekbone, the redness, the scars, and even the blood. It seemed a brutal thing at this point, but the crowd now realized what was happening. So did all of us at ringside. The young man had made every boast stick. None of us really understood the liniment scene. Not then. That took later explanation. But what happened within the four corners of the ring, that was clear. You could not see a more masterful performance of boxing. In a way, this too seemed a precursor. The befuddlement of Liston, in its own way, similar, as would be ascertained in later years, to the befuddlement of another big, strong, powerhouse puncher named George Foreman in Zaire, Kinshasa, Zaire, in the wee small hours of the morning. But this was Cassius Clay. Not dancing, not moving, because he no longer had to. The swiftness of the hands was enough. Sonny Liston was exposed, beaten, done away with. There would be an excuse to come, an attempt to place doubt on all that had happened. But as you watch this fight, there could be no doubt. Coming to the end of round 6, it would be the end of Sonny Liston. Sonny dejectedly goes back to his corner, sits down. Now watch, in previously unseen footage, what happens in the corner of that ring. Sonny Liston's corner. There will be no attention given during all of this time to the shoulder. No, he will be sponged. Yes, there, they are rubbing the shoulder, but that's pro forma. Then, the ice pack to the face. The major problem, right there. That left eye, that left cheek, down to the lip. The vision shrouded by the swelling and by the cut. Now it's over. And the youngster goes berserk. He does the shuffle right there. He didn't realize that he did it there when later, in the fall of '66, he said, I discovered this against Cleveland Williams, and there is the beaten man. It seemed hard to believe at that point that he had been so feared, that the left had once seemed like a lamppost, but that's the way it was. And Cassius Clay still, then in ring center, is joined by what seemed to be a young announcer. But the now Ali is right. I'm not the man I used to be. At that point in time, I did not have hair. Now, it is clear that I do. And so, Cassius Clay became the heavyweight champion of the world and told us next day, I am mine.